Hey Libra, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. Over here on YouTube at the moment we are doing summer love readings. So yeah, very relationship focused, although literally half of them have been like, sorry about you not having a relationship this summer. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure, if you, I don't know what, I'm not sure of anything, honestly, until we get going here. So over on Vimeo, though, I did put a more traditional tarot spread up there. It can be any topic, work, projects, friendships, family relationships, anything like that, even love. And we've had, over there, we had a few painful realizations. And if you take an opportunity, if you have an opportunity to step away from a high conflict situation, go for it. So step into something new. All right, so one more shuffle here on these puppies before we lay them out. See what the cards have for us. All right, about relationships, specifically romantic relationships. That's what I'm going for. That's the intent here. Bird's eye view, their position, your position, possible action, results of that action, how you might grow from this. All right, in the bird's eye view, unfinished symphony, but it's in reverse. Like, do we need to finish the symphony? You know what? I want to look this one up. Okay, so the book had two ideas that really stuck out to me. One was, well, it was basically like finish what you started. Like there's something that you need to go back to and sort of wrap up, clear up. Don't quit before the end. So the temptation is to leave something unfinished and just undone. But the message here, or the overall idea, is that there is unfinished business somewhere, and you need to kind of tie up the loose ends. Don't just, the temptation is to leave it as unfinished business and whatever, that's fine. But this is like maybe a situation needing more closure or something like that. So I wasn't seeing, just intuitively, I wasn't seeing like, oh, finished business, then it's unfinished business in reverse. It's all done, taken care of. But there is something where either you just need to like, you need to finish it, basically. But the temptation and the energy is towards not completing something or not tying up a loose ends. Relationship-wise, it looks like closure might be needed, or some sort of final statement. I'm not a fan of seeking closure. I mean, I'm a fan of seeking closure for yourself, but not from someone else. But that's not the message we're getting, is it? So, fan or not, the message is like there's something there that's got some loose ends that probably need to be attended to. The other person, they're pretty flexible. They're coming in as not too rigid in their beliefs. They have an understanding of the way things can flow. They're not holding their position. I mean, we have holding their position, but their position is, I'm actually pretty flexible here. I'm not, there's again, we have this egg here as potential, coming in as potential for the situation. So even though they're holding their position, there's a sense of being flexible. There's also indicators here that this is like a moment of flexibility, or a moment of being able to work with something. And like, if we're just flexible without strength, I mean, to me, flexible here has like a sense of strength and flexibility, right? Because you can't hold that position that this person is holding without a lot of strength. So they've been very strong, but there's a don't misunderstand that. It looks like there is flexibility as well here, but there's also a sense of something cooling, of some sort of passion cooling. Or the potential cooling. I wonder what that's about. Well, we're going to pull clarifiers, so it'll work. So your position, who you are, you haven't been exchanging gifts. you're not, there's no give and take here. There's no exchange. Either one person's been giving and the other person's been taking, or one person's been taking or the other person's been giving. I also see here like exchanging gifts. I see a sense of not, maybe not giving gifts, withholding gifts. Maybe you have gifts to give and things to give, but you haven't done that. You haven't seen fit to do that. Maybe you haven't felt safe to do that. Maybe you haven't felt like it would be reciprocated or equal. So there's been maybe a withholding of gifts, talents, abilities. Maybe you still have more you can give, or you're not unable to give something. You may also be unable to give something, either because of boundaries, needing to hold some boundaries here, or not having something to give. So possible action, don't make a decision. There's no fork in the road is what this is saying. If you don't see a fork in the road, there might not be a fork in the road. And I was just, a personal reading had this card just yesterday, and it was, I was seeing it as going on a hike, and then you know how you're on the hike and then it's like, oh, this path veers off, and then you go off that path like 20 feet and the path disappears. It's nothing. It just like hundreds of people always think it's a different, unique path, and it dead ends. So there wasn't actually a fork in the road. It just looked like a fork in the road. So there's maybe like not even any decisions that need to make. If you don't make a choice, that is also making a choice, for sure. So continuing on the path that you're on. But a fork in the road, there is no fork in the road. If you don't make a decision, it is also making a decision. So if you don't make a decision to sort of wrap this up, you're also making a decision. If you don't make a decision to seek closure or whatever, or it is a decision. So that possible action, and if you take that action, what are the results? This is really funny, Virgo. Did Virgo get this? The results are sitting here thinking. You're going to think and think, looking at things from different points of view. So not taking action and just thinking about things, just having things on your mind and wondering about them, looking at them from different angles, different levels, being in your head. So making no decision kind of maybe buys you time to continue thinking about something. And then we have how you might grow from this. Imagine. So all this thinking will have you imagining something. Imagining maybe a good relationship, a healthy relationship, what you want. Thinking more about what you want. So again, this fork in the road, I swear we've had this fork in the road reversed multiple times here in these readings, as far as like, don't make a decision, keep thinking about it. And as you're continuing to think about it, you're continuing to imagine more possibilities, right? Being open to infinite possibilities is very important, and not closing yourself off and only seeing certain things. So as you continue to think about a situation, thinking and imagining, look at this. This is don't make a decision. There might not even be a decision to be made here. Just keep thinking and dreaming and imagining. It's a possibility. All right, let's find some qualifiers, clarifiers here. Modifiers is what they are in my mind. They're like adjectives, or maybe adverbs in some cases. So I'm cutting the deck in the middle and then pulling from the middle. So them, you, how you might act, bird's eye view, and results, and how you might grow from this. See this as like enriched imagination. Your imagination, your concept of the possibilities and what's possible continues to grow. All right, so starting over with reverse unfinished business, you've got unfinished business that could use some loose ends being tied up. And this is House of Flowers, surprising surprising things coming in the middle of the mundane. There's support here, there's companionship, and there's sort of this like growth, a lot of growth. There's a lot of mundane stuff going on, but in the middle of that is this sort of surprise and delight here. I was thinking, you know, I heard shock and awe, but I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if our military strategy was surprise and delight? That would be a much better world. I'd vote for living in that one over, you know, military that's like shock and awe. So anyway, unfinished business. Oh, you might be surprised, or someone might be surprised that someone else feels that there's unfinished business here. There might be a little bit of a surprise. So someone might feel pleasantly surprised to discover that someone here is feeling that there's unfinished business. I feel like it might be you that's surprised to hear, because I'm surprised to hear, like this unfinished business card, like what things to wrap up, things to clear up and finish up and like officially end. That might come as quite a surprise. And maybe there's a pleasant surprise with this unfinished business. And it almost looks like the business should remain unfinished. I mean, the book was saying something else, but circling back around to something from the past, and there might be some surprise, and some parts of it, some parts of the unfinished business or whatever might be, you know, there might be like a more mundane parts of like separating goods or you know, more mundane parts of whatever this tying up a loose ends looks like to you. There might be more mundane parts and then some really surprising parts, and maybe some unexpectedly pleasant parts of finding closure. They are dog spirit. Be loyal to what you love. So they are flexible and yet loyal, because loyalty to me doesn't like exude or scream a lot of flexibility, but it does though, because if you're being loyal to one thing, right, then the flexibility, things you are everything around that one thing that you're loyal to, that one thing that they want, the one thing, you know, their you know, master or owner or whatever, the thing that owns them, the thing that they're most loyal to, they will exude a lot of flexibility to remain strong in a certain way. Other things can be bent around that, and that's what we're sort of seeing here, this potential egg here, and even the earth seems to flow around this potential thing, and they're remaining strong towards one thing, but allowing things that, even things you wouldn't expect to be flexible, to flow around that thing. So they're remaining very loyal to a certain concept, a certain potential, a certain idea, or something like that. They're remaining loyal while and they'll be flexible about pretty much anything else except for the thing that they're remaining strong for. And then so everything else is moldable except for just like this one. Be loyal to what you love. Like you can't be loyal to a lot of different masters or a lot of different things. You can only be loyal to the one, right? Because otherwise you have, you know, two people going like, come here, scout, come here, scout. And then the dog's all like, what? Right? So they know who their master is, or who they want to follow, or what they want. So they're being loyal to what they want, and all else is flexible. Again, that's that combination of flexibility and strength, right? You are showing up as flamingo spirit. Embrace the in-between. I really like this because it's pink. It's the pink bird. There's a lot of pink here. Embrace the in-between. And the flamingo is both a bird of the air and of the water, both. So, and embrace the in-between It's like there is this unfinished business here. And I guess the more I'm doing this reading, the more I feel like this maybe doesn't require instant resolution or something. There's something here because there's all this thinking energy and imagining energy and opening up your mind to other ways of doing things and imagining a future and allowing all sorts of possibilities to play out. So you're, I think, being asked to be comfortable with uncertainty, to be comfortable being part of two worlds, being comfortable with unfinished business, I think, and allowing it to finish itself in its own way, or do whatever it needs to do next. So Flamingo Spirit, I love that it's pink on pink. It's very, I don't know, harmonious. You got the pink bird for the gift exchange. So fork in the road, there not being one, and maybe not making a decision is as much as making a decision. We have the world cosmos, so this can be honestly both travel and also the ending of a big cycle. So we have a very natural ending of a big event in your life. There's a very natural ending here, but yet it's not bringing in any. There's an ending without closure. There's an ending without decision or without choice. And the fork in the road in reverse can also be like there is no choice. You don't have a lot of options with this. The possible action is that there isn't a possible action. There's nothing to be done here, at least not at the moment. Then we have Knight of Materials. So this is definitely a slow and steady wins the race energy. This is planning. Envisioning the future, again, we have that, envisioning a future. The Knight of Materials doesn't move very fast, if at all. So again, we're getting no moves, but envisioning, opening up of the mind, opening up of ideas, envisioning possible futures that you enjoy, planning for the future something that you like. But again, the Knight of Materials, the Knights are supposed to be communicating, but our Knight of Materials communicates nothing except plans, if anything. And then we have the Muse of Materials. Oh my goodness. We have someone going from a Knight to a Muse. And this is you. You're not supposed to make any moves or decisions here. You're supposed to embrace uncertainty and not make any moves. If this dog here wants something, they're perfectly capable of being flexible enough they're perfectly capable of getting it, of changing course, of doing something. But then we have this, you're being asked to, like, there's no choice, there's no decision for you to make, there's no moves for you to make. You can talk about something, but don't make any moves towards it. There is an ending, but there's a big shift, there's a big, but there's a sense of just looking to the future, not really doing anything. So then we have Muse of Materials. This is going to be our King of Coins. This is, again, slow and steady wins the race. This is real world. This could be work focus. With both of these materials coming in here, we could have a work focus. This is someone planning, again, planning for the future. Well, the Muse of Materials has already achieved everything they want to achieve. The King of Materials has what they want, and they got it through planning the normal way. It's not some sort of magical realm. It's not some super emotional thing. It's with very clear, concise expectations. It's and maybe there's a work focus here for you. But this is having achieved what you want to achieve, and having done it in a calculating, slow moving manner. Investments coming back. Time, energy, time investments, maybe even monetary investments. The Muse of Materials is, there's a lot of wealth here. There's an executive. I mean, maybe the fork in the road isn't necessarily, maybe like it's There's no fork in the road. There's just continuing on the road. There's no decision to be made. There's just continuing down the path. Just sort of quietly making your investments. I don't know, there's just with two materials here on fork in the road, it's like not a decision to be made here, but continuing to work on the physical, something in the physical realm. Work focus, I guess, is what I'm seeing. Sounds like some fun summer. The results here of not taking the action. We had possible action, and the possible action is not action. And somehow you are victorious with non-action, which I like. It's very like Wu Wei, Dao De Jing work here is like most effective thing is not to push anything, which is what we've been getting the whole time. Not, well, except for the book said you need to like force an ending. I disagree with that. The rest of this reading does not agree with that. Maybe somebody does, but not you. So we have Queen Bee here, modifying the thinker, thinking about something. And Queen Bee is very protective energy. There's a female presence here who's very protective. She protects her honey. You got a honey pot? You better be protecting it. You know, you can. It's okay to sting anyone that sticks their hand in there without, especially without your permission. Go ahead and sting away. But there's something that you're protecting, and maybe somebody thinks you're a bitch, or maybe somebody thinks you're difficult, but you know what you've got. You know the value of what you have. So consider your value and consider how to protect it. And it can also just be like a very reproductive vibe here, right? Birds and bees. So thinking about, I don't know, yeah, protecting your honey pot there, and could be thinking about sexuality, thinking about that kind of thing. But there's always, with Queen Bee, there's always a sense of protection, and there's always a sense too, like bees, big, scary, they sting. Well, they usually only sting out of protection. They're not feeding off of you like mosquitoes, right? They're protecting their honey, their liquid gold, their gold. They're protecting it. And so so when they sting, it's not vengeance typically, or it's not even like trying to take anything from you or harm you. It's literally just them not wanting to get harmed themselves and them protecting. So there is a protecting vibe, and thinking about boundaries, perhaps thinking about protection. And how might you grow from this? This is possibly one of my favorite cards, although she looks a little strange, but whatever. Wild Rose Fairy Love. Imagining love, I think, is what you're doing. Like, what does love look like to you? What does love... Yeah, Wild Rose Fairy, and imagining that love, that maybe even imagining your ideal love. And there's something about your intuition that pulls you towards it. So what can you look forward to? Love, either like you imagined, or further developing your understanding of what love is and what love has the capacity to be. But overall, we have a situation with unfinished business. This may be a surprise to you. And there's not action to be taken here. I mean, I find it really cool that this fork in the road card, which is like, there's no decision to be made. There's no choice here to be made even. And you're getting comfortable with some sort of undecided situation. There's no decision. Don't make a decision. And then this Knight of Materials is also about not moving, not making fast moves. And yet somehow you end up with this Muse of Materials, getting what you want without moving, accomplishing what you want. And it's very solid, right? The King of Pentacles is very solid energy because the foundation was laid so thoroughly and completely that it's solid. His investments come back, and there's not a question about them. There's not there's not, yeah, a lot of questions about these investments. It wasn't a get-rich-quick scheme. That's the thing about Muse materials, is that there's no get-rich-quick scheme. You can't, even though there may be loose ends that need to be tied up, there's no trick to doing it. There's no quick fix here. And that's what I guess the Muse materials is telling me now. There's no quick fix. And if you think there is, there isn't. If you think there's a fork in the road and there's a quick fix, and if you just go this way, it's going to like be the route you want more directly. There's no shortcut with Muse of materials. So yeah. And then this queen bee and this love, this could be really spicy here. Thinking and imagining about love. All right. Oh, I think that's it. I think we're done. Oh, well, let's do what can you look forward to? Well, we already did that, but we're going to do it again just because I felt like it. Oh, shit. Spirit guardian of autumn, letting go. So here's our unfinished business, maybe coming more towards the end of summer and more in the fall. So the spirit guardian of autumn, letting go. You can look forward to letting go of something. All right, Libra, I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for joining me over here. And if you want, the link to the Vimeo is in the description box.